The off season is not the time to chill. It's not the time to get sloppy, and it's not the time for you to just go along with no plan. You need to have a plan, and you need to have something significant that you're working on, and you need to hold yourself accountable to someone.
We checked it
Yeah,
all yesterday. We're like, great, everything's working. Great, we'll
yeah.
do this tomorrow.
Mm.
That's
Like
so weird. Of course that had to
we
happen.
have Andrea Shaw on, and it's not working. I'm sweating. Like it was
Of
like the
course it would be with
pressure.
my technology. Classic. So you're training for another one right now, are you? Another Olympia right now,
Yeah,
currently? Nice.
yes.
How far in it
Olympia,
are you?
and I have another show before the Olympia.
Oh, nice. Is that another Rising Phoenix? I've seen you've done a few of those.
Yep.
Is that one of those? Yeah, baby.
Yep.
Sweet.
Awesome. Sorry, before we get right into this
Super
stuff, I just
excited.
yeah, that's gonna be
I bet
rise.
that's going to be really exciting. Those ones look like a lot of fun. I saw quite a few videos of those ones up.
They're
Is that
so
strictly
much
the
fun.
States? That's strictly where you're at that does that, eh? Or is Rising Phoenix like something that travels around does
No, yeah, Rising Phoenix is always usually located in Arizona, and it's an all women's show,
nice.
both amateur and pro,
Ah,
completely all women.
Oh,
that is so cool. I love that.
So
Yeah,
it's so good.
that's awesome. And
well, since I'm so amateur, maybe one day I'll try to compete there. We'll see what happens.
Come on, girl. There's more than enough room.
I know, right? Yeah,
Oh, I bet.
and so we'll get right into this, and I'm gonna do my little spiel first. Cool. And all right, Caroline, we can do the magic button.
That's a bell thing.
All right. So, welcome to Bodybuilders Amateur Hour. We have Caroline, Josh, and of course, oh my goodness, three-time Miss Olympia champion, Andrea Shaw. Welcome. I am so ecstatic that you are here and taking your time out of your day and your Olympia prep to come hang out with us. It is so, so exciting, and you're such a wonderful and amazing person, and I'm just here to share you with everybody because everyone deserves you in their lives because you're awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
You've
much
got
for
a.
having
I
me
feel like you've got a
on,
great
guys. I
little.
mean,
And so before we get going, I
It's
just want
gonna
to
be. It's gonna be a
remember,
fun one.
yeah, for sure. Just make sure you like this, and Caroline,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you wanna go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell button because I mean we have people on here like Andrea Shaw. You really don't want to miss anything special like that. It's worth hitting that bell button for sure, guys.
yeah, for sure. Oh, nice,
Yeah,
thanks.
you got to.
Yeah,
This is
Do
cool. No, I watch
it.
so many shows, and I feel like you've got like that perfect balance of savage physique with like just so much like feminine energy. Like it's you maintain that really well. It's awesome. It's very
Thank you.
inspirational. I
Thank
find
you.
like that is perfect.
Thank you. And that's
yeah,
been my goal. I mean, especially with women's bodybuilding coming back. I know some people don't like to use the femininity word, but I love it. It's who I am to my core. I've told
yeah.
my coach many, many times that as long as bodybuilding didn't require me to give up that part of me, that I was willing to give it a go.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah, no, and I don't think it ever could get taken away from you. It only could if you let it. I feel like, and also I feel like it really depends on other people's opinion. I'm curious on why they don't like the term feminine energy. What's wrong with that?
Well,
You'd
what
have to understand them.
some, yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I don't know why some of them say, maybe not all women are feminine. So, it could be something that
That's
some women are
fair.
not as comfortable with.
That's
I
fair.
understand it,
Well,
but I mean,
I'm speaking for myself, and I'll speak for you, and you can correct me, but I feel like we hit that one. that feminine energy. But if you want to call it something else, that's cool. But I'll keep it
Yeah, but
feminine.
I like the feminine energy. It's like it's all ours. We don't
Right.
have to share
Yeah,
it.
I try to embrace that all the time. Got to embrace that. You've been hiding in the shadows for too long.
Usually on my end, when I see males and sometimes other females talking about female bodybuilders or even physique competitors, and they're like, "Oh, look at them! Like they have the masculine energy, like, or it's too much on the other way." I find that usually comes from a jealousy aspect or jealousy point of view, where a lot of them like females
Oh,
are
insecure for
secretly
sure.
internally like, man, I wish I had that, but I can't, or that is scary to cross over to that other side. Or yeah, I just think it comes from a little bit of jealousy. Even when guys would come to see, I know there's a few physique and fitness kind of female competitors that go to my gym, and yeah, sure, a lot of the guys are intimidated, and then what happens? They start putting them down, right? And that's just bullshit. You gotta get right in there and just love it and admire
Yeah, and deal
your
with your own
work.
insecurities, right? Like
Hell
if
yeah,
you're
that's their
insecure
problem.
and if you feel
Andrea,
that
I'd
coming
love to
up
see
in
how you
you,
would. I
then
would
you
love
got
to
to
see
deal
how you
with
deal
that.
with
You have
your
to deal with
insecurities.
that. And that's
Right?
something,
Yeah, it's like
yeah, I mean, that's
I
something
think that'd
that's
be
totally doable,
hilarious.
but most people will avoid it.
right. Just you gotta just like yeah, just screw all those people and do it. And, like you're killing it. You're looking beautiful. Everything is just like right on for you, and it's just so wonderful to see.
Yeah,
So,
nobody can say shit.
right.
I
That
really
part.
like they've got no legs. They've got no fucking legs to stand on. If they're not compares to Andrea's legs, you just can't say you even have legs.
You're right.
And today was leg day, you guys. My legs, oh, my coach is
Oh,
out for it. Like, he is
Uh,
really ready. I'm so excited. So, we've got 10 weeks before the Rising Phoenix and
oh
15
wow,
weeks before the Olympia.
so
baby.
that's amazing. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a little. That's fantastic. So, 10 weeks before Rising Phoenix. Uh, that's
How you feeling in the
so.
gym?
Yeah. So you had leg day today. What was that like? Like for your training
Oof.
and for like if I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, educated people for the most part are going to be like, uh, male training, female training, pretty much identical.
We have
But
the same
for
muscle groups.
yeah, but for you, what is your training like leading up to the Rising Phoenix?
So, we have incorporated 3 leg days a week.
All right,
But
so
I've
something
actually
I don't
been
know. That's awesome.
probably
Holy
not
crap!
not not common for most.
Oh, we got a little freak. Repeat
Oh,
that.
oh, sorry, one sec. We got a little audio issue. We
We're
froze.
gonna have to ask you to repeat yourself.
We froze here.
I really want to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super curious.
And
Hopefully,
not a lick of a moment, not here. Like she's allowed to have audio issues. She's the guest. I can't be having none of that. Come
we'll,
on there. I really hate that that worked yesterday. No problem.
yeah,
That that's
yeah.
strange.
I'm not really sure.
Maybe I clicked the button. Maybe I should just get some headphones and do it that way and plug it in on the bottom.
Yeah, so sometimes the mic has a headphone jack on the bottom.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, she hung up. She'll probably call back.
Cool. Ding-a-ling.
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh.
Oh,
Yay.
So we
and we're
asked you
back.
about leg day, and
It's all good. This isn't being
yeah.
put out. Sorry, this isn't being put out live. So all the stuff can be edited and fixed, and it's not a big deal.
Sweet. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So whatever. It's all good. We'll just roll with it.
Yeah.
I want to know about your leg days, and you're 10 weeks out from a show. You're
Yeah.
doing 3 leg days a week. Like,
Yeah,
that's craziness. They're probably sore. Like, how do you break that up? Obviously, not 3 days in a row.
right.
I have no
Usually every other day. Every other
every
day,
other day.
typically. Yeah.
How do you feel? Like, obviously, when you do a legs, like I don't know how often you really get sore from a leg day. If you get sore every time, like after a leg day, yeah, sore every time. I want to
I
know.
can usually get pretty sore, but I
Yeah,
have a little trick.
Yeah. What?
yes, I want to know.
So
Give it.
on the days that I train legs, I try to have my body work done the same exact day.
Smart.
And that's usually
Uh,
enough to get me, to a point where I'm not as sore. I still may be a little, but not very much. And again, it's timing, right? And my legs, there have been some days where the body work is strictly legs. Like my guy will spend the entire 3 hours to 4 hours just working on my legs.
Oh my god.
3 4
So
hours.
yeah,
Oh my
That.
gosh, you're just like I want to go home. At that point, you need to take a little lunch break and then get back to it.
Oh,
oh
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. We take
Yeah,
lunch breaks,
it's
bathroom
like
breaks, like.
no, that's your job. Like 3 4 hours a day. Well, I mean, it's your career,
Yeah,
baby. And you're doing very well at it. So
that's right.
Wow.
the longer, the
Oh,
better.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Is
But I
Yeah,
think
is
that's what
that's great.
athletes need to understand. They need to understand that the recovery needs to be just as intense as
mm-hmm.
the training. So if it's not, then the chances of you not being able to fully recover are higher, right? So yeah, I usually tell them like, hey, I mean, even if it's not financially feasible for you to do 3 hours or 4 hours, right? Do what you can, and maybe also incorporate a lot of your own, techniques when it comes to like foam rolling,
Yeah.
using the Normatex, taking ice baths. Those things are also a part of the equation. So yeah, it's like you said, it's my
Love.
job, and it's just yeah, when you know better, you do better.
100%.
Yeah,
Love it.
I love
So
the ice
like,
bath idea. Right on the ocean, jump in that sucker. It's
yeah,
just cold
yeah,
as
we
fuck.
live right. There you go.
2 minutes in at Lawrencetown. Good.
You're good.
That's it.
So yeah, like for example, like you said, for the most part, we all can't really do that. I probably go maybe once or twice a month for body work, and but besides that,
Okay.
foam rolling, we have, or I use the massage gun. I don't know if you have like, so
They're
after
good.
leg day or even during leg day, I'll take it out with me and just keep run the gun over my quads or hamstrings. Super painful and kind
Yeah.
of ticklish, but when
Right.
it's but like
I
yeah,
know I'm not
recovering
normally
is
ticklish, but it hits different when that thing's
yeah.
going. It doesn't hurt. Like I've used it on my legs when I wasn't sore, and I'm like, this isn't even bad. Like it's probably not even gonna do anything. But then when your legs are sore, it's
Hmm.
everything.
So
Yeah,
is your
that fat
Yeah.
does not want to give up. It's just on there. See, I love going to the Cairo and massage. I'm there twice a month, one for massage and one
Yeah.
for Cairo, getting my
Yeah.
joints work done, my mobility work done. It's lifting
nice.
Yeah.
weights is as much as it makes my body better, it also makes it so sore.
Yeah, and it's better when someone else can do it. I mean, they can get to certain spots that you may
Oh
have a harder
yeah,
time trying to get to. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Oh
when I'm in
yeah.
off season, yeah, I mean, maybe once a week, but no less than twice a month.
That
yeah.
makes
That was
that
gonna be my next question. So when you're doing like a 10 week or 16 week prep, or however long you normally go, when you're off season, is it still like you said, it's still pretty regimented with like self care and body care and stretching and
Yeah,
whatnot?
just not as much body work. Lots of stretching. Yeah, lots of stretching. And less cardio. So I mean, we try to have cardio in the mix, but not every day, and not for an hour because I
Right.
just
Yeah.
don't need it when I'm in off season.
Right.
How do you feel about cardio? You a yay or nay, or you're like, it's yeah, I get through it. I don't find it that bad personally. Throw some tunes on.
I like it. I don't mind it at all. As long as I got a good playlist. It's like a dance party for me. I just kind of,
Yeah,
I kind of dance it out and I rock out a little bit.
I can see.
Yes, I love that. Next time I dance on the treadmill, I'm definitely be thinking of you. Be like, I
Oh,
love you.
dude.
And it's like, why do you do that? That's weird. I'd be like, is it?
Is
Have you?
it?
Andrea Shaw does it, so it can't like fuck off.
And if the music is good, you're gonna move
Yeah,
at a certain pace, right? That really makes it cardio. Because like people who read during cardio, like
Oh yeah.
books and watch like long movies, I'm like, how are you getting like
How you? Yeah.
into it, right? Like it's not. It's different when it comes to that intensity, right? That's the one thing I know about, like, because I went to school for exercise and sports science, so when it comes to doing cardio, like cardio is cardio because you're really supposed to be within a certain zone, right? To be optimizing the work, right? I'd rather do 30 minutes of hit than do an hour of like just slightly less than steady state. Like I want to
Yeah.
optimize my time. So I want to give it a good hard 30 minutes. And if I get the same results or better results,
Oh,
I would
heck
rather
yeah.
do that. But like I'm not chilling. Like I'm not
Right.
just chilling and hanging out when I'm watching movies on Netflix. Like, no, this is cardio. I'm going to do cardio.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It's like,
yeah,
oh,
you're
I
not
see you're taking an active rest day. Good for you. It's like
exactly.
not a
So you're
cardio
not
day.
like the long. You're not the
That
long
is
and
hard for
slow,
me.
right? So you're not like the long and slow kind of cardio.
Yeah,
You're more of you're just kind of get it in, get it done, and you don't feel like the higher intensity
that's it. Hot
cardio
and
can.
heavy.
You don't feel the higher intensity cardio can cause a little bit of like muscle wasting, where
It
where
only if it exceeds 60 minutes.
okay,
Only if it
right,
really. And I mean,
First
if you
half of the day,
schedule well,
guys.
if you do intervals the right way. Yeah, if you do intervals the right way, you can space it out where it's not going to be catabolic.
and the right way in would be for say like you said less than 60 minutes of going like 1 minute on, 2 minutes off, or kind of thing, or how would you adjust your interval training?
I would say, I mean, a 1-to-1 is probably a good rule of thumb to kind of go by. When I was kind of earlier on in hit training, I was, you know how it is when you're young, you want to test the wheels. I mean, not
Oh
that I'm
yeah.
not still young, but like when I was younger, I should say, I would, yeah. I mean, some of my intervals were like 4 minutes long, 5 minutes long, where I'm trying to maintain a speed, right? A certain speed and a certain
Yep.
heart rate for that long, and it's not necessary, right? Like I don't need to be working at almost 90% of my heart rate max for 5 minutes as an interval. But
Yeah.
again, I was just trying to, test different things out and, see what was going to give me better results. And a 1-to-1 is perfect.
Yeah.
Anything more than a
Okay.
1-to-1, I mean, yeah, space your energy out,
People,
give it a good go,
people
and
love
then back off.
overcomplicating stuff.
What's that? Sorry.
I said people love to overcomplicate things.
Oh yeah, just make yeah exam yeah 100%. That goes with training too, I think. And so with your Andrea, with your training style,
Yeah, I tell
we're all
clients that too.
I
I'm like, hey, if you're looking for the trainer that's going to have a whole lot of like tricks,
yeah.
I'm like, I'm not that trainer. Like, I stick to a lot of the old school things. I've got some newer things, right, with like cable work and stuff like that. But like, T-bar rows are still a huge part of like what
Nice.
I incorporate. Yeah, like, I mean, who
So
doesn't? They
right.
should.
Yeah, they
So
work a lot. I wish I had
a couple days ago, I put up a question box, and about like ask Andrea anything kind of thing. So I ended up with 43 questions. So we're not going to go through all of them. A lot,
Hey, good job, guys.
a lot of. I got more questions for you than I did for Lee Priest. So let's just say that.
Hey.
So that's awesome. Um, but we're not gonna. There was a lot of repeat ones. A lot of people had the same questions. So, but we'll go through some of them, where we'll be here all night, and we don't want to do that. We all,
Fire away, fire away.
uh,
I love the Q&A.
yeah. Again, there was a few
Great.
questions about your training and about like how how you train. What is uh, from when you're what is it? I'm gonna. A lot of questions were about your training, but I'm gonna take these questions and ask, what was your training like when you were coming up and you were a physique before you turned bodybuilder, right? If I'm correct, uh, was there any differences in your training between the two categories, and what did you have to change?
There were just a few small things that were different between the two. The first one was that I would try to do some additional cardio to try to get, a little bit leaner because I mean, it's women's physique, right?
Yeah.
So I would still lift, but there was never a day of or a third day of legs, right? Because physique is the division itself is more streamlined. So I did not need to add any mass or any extra um, conditioning to my lower body. So that was definitely
Okay.
not a part of the mix at all. And I still came in really, really good conditioning for women's physique. But again, once I got into bodybuilding, it was like, you know what? I don't have to restrict anymore. Like I can just train, and we can bring as much conditioning as I want to the stage. And we found that 3 leg days a week, it works. It helps. And the third, usually the middle day is leg extensions and leg curls. So it's almost like and glutes. So it's almost a complete isolation day, right?
Oh,
And
nice.
then the other two
So,
days are more compound movements.
okay, that makes sense. You don't really tax your central nervous system too much in the middle day. Right?
Exactly. And it
Okay.
works out really, really good because I mean, after that, I mean, if I'm foam rolling, using my Normatec boots, going to get the body work done. I mean, by the time, and I still take glutamine. Some of my other amino acids have to go, but glutamine is still allowed up until a certain point. The recovery is great, and the results. I mean, they speak for themselves because every
Oh
year my
yeah.
legs come sharper and sharper. So it's definitely something that I noticed as a huge difference between how I structured my lower body. The upper body, however, still exactly the same. I don't change. I didn't change anything when it came to my upper body. So the goal is always to train each body part twice a week. And now the only thing that is that right we took out like that additional chest day and added the leg day.
Oh, cool. Wow.
What is the glutamine? Why would you take that out? I'm just
I was
curious on
just
the
about to
fast
ask that
answer
one.
on that.
Nice,
Oh,
nice.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
glutamine is
I
the
think
most abundant.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Why,
glutamine is the
why?
most
Tell me
abundant
what
amino
it is.
acid in the body.
Right.
Yeah, so it since it is the most abundant amino acid in the body, it serves a huge role with the repair and recovery process. It's unique in that it I can't say what the upper limit of other amino acids are, but glutamine actually does not have like a limit, a toxicity limit, right? So as long as you're drinking enough water, then I mean that glutamine will be utilized by the body, and what's not utilized will be excreted through the urine. And again, it's
So
one of
why would
those
you cut it
that
out?
Uh,
why would I
uh,
cut it out?
Did you? Yeah, yeah. I'm just. Did you?
Sometimes
Is that what you said? I'm just curious.
yeah, sometimes when it's packaged in powder form, and liquid form, which usually is the only way you can get it. Sometimes they add like some salt or sodium preservatives to it
Oh,
to
okay.
preserve the shelf life of the product. And when it comes time for me to restrict water, we try to also restrict the sodium to make sure that I'm not holding excessive
yeah.
amounts of
Right.
water.
That makes complete sense. Okay. Right on.
So
Right
to
on.
plug mutant, do you? It's like, do you use the mutant's glutamine?
Absolutely.
Okay. I was like,
Absolutely.
oh, I gotta try. Awesome. Okay,
Yes,
good.
yes. And they make a great glutamine because I mean
Yeah.
it's sourced from the most pure, I mean, resources ever. I mean, like, I haven't found a
Well,
product that is as good
yeah.
as Mutant.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure. Right?
exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. Very
Repping
good.
it.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah. So nothing's changed. Well, that's great. When it comes to your leg training, though, how with that much leg work, Is there any? How do you deal with knee issues, joint pain, knee pain, or does that get all kind of get worked out through all of your body work sessions?
Yeah, between my stretching, and my own, foam rolling, excuse me, and a lot of the ice baths. I also wear compression sleeves for my knees when I'm doing my compound movements. So those, I mean, they and even some of my cardio, I will wear those compression sleeves while I'm doing cardio.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just I mean, and I still have also other supplements that I will take for joint health, right? So my favorite is Instaflex. That is like my absolute favorite, hands down. Because when I used to lift super, super, super heavy, I had a little bit of like inflammation back in, oh, it's probably had to be about over 10 years ago. But I got a hold of some Instaflex, and I remember as soon as I took it, within like 2 hours, I could literally feel the inflammation just going away. It was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not ever going to stop taking this when it comes to being in
Well,
prep. Because
can
again,
I
I
get
mean,
in
the
Canada?
recovery,
If I'm nothing good, you
man,
can get in
yeah.
Canada.
Yeah, I haven't.
Oh,
We have.
girl, come on,
I was like, I don't
no.
think I've seen that around
I've
here,
never
but
heard of that before, so I wonder if it's out there. I
Really?
would be curious to check
we'll
it out.
check it.
No,
Oh my
I'm telling
gosh.
you, we've been hijacked
Yeah,
by the
we're a
good
little
good.
deprived up here with some supplements for
Oh,
sure, but maybe we
I
could
was gonna
find it
say,
on
send me your
Amazon.
address. I'll send you some.
Send us a care package.
Care package,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
great supplement. It's got turmeric in it, MSM, boswellia roots, uh, glucosamine, chondroitin. I've also come across one that has collagen in it.
Oh
So
no,
I mean, when you couple all
nice.
that together, like it's a really good supplement. I've been using it again, like I said, for at least the last 10 years, and it's just really really good. So
Nice.
yeah, I
Right
stay on.
on.
I don't have any knee pain or any issues when it comes to like swelling and I don't lift as heavy as I used to either. So I mean, having said that, there's a caveat
Right.
to it, but yeah, the recovery it matches the intensity of the exercise, and some people think it may be excessive to get 3 to 4 hours of body work done, but when it comes to how I train, couple that 3 leg days plus cardio every day, right? It needs
Yeah.
to match the amount of effort and energy that I'm putting into all of this work for
Yeah, that
prep.
makes so much sense. We don't
Oh
really
yeah,
hear that
this is
enough, I
high.
don't
This
think,
is
in the sport.
stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
are other people saying? What are these questions saying?
Yeah.
um,
I'm curious. Don't mind me. I didn't get a copy of them this time, and I'm like,
no,
oh
yeah,
no.
it was a little last minute
Oh, he left
thing
you
here.
out, huh?
Yeah, a little. Um, during your during your prep, how do you run your diet? Do you like carb cycling throughout it, or what? And has it changed over the years? And what do you find works best for you?
Carbs stay consistent. I'm usually at 3 carb servings a day, and then the closer I get, based on how I look.
Right.
It's all really still
It's
based
all
on
the
the
yeah.
aesthetics, right? Yeah, my coach will determine whether we will manipulate carbs when it comes to swapping out carb sources, and I mean and it's inclusive of rice, oatmeal, potatoes, sweet potatoes. Like I get more than enough to eat. I'm never at a point where I'm like undernourished. I
Right.
get plenty of food.
I feel like a lot of people and coaches will well, I mean, you probably have some of the best coaching you can probably get, but like I definitely feel like they'll like, especially where I'm so new to it. I've done one show. I have to be careful to find a coach that's not going to slap me on like a cookie cutter program. I was eating quite a bit of food. Like I used to shock people with how much food I was eating when I was getting really lean from my show. And that's like, you really need to fuel that body for what you're doing. I think people underestimate how much food you can eat, especially when you have an enormous amount of muscle. Your body needs that to survive.
You got to feed that muscle. You have to feed that muscle. And that
Yeah.
becomes another thing that some people should consider with their training, right? If you are already going into a prep and your calories are under a certain number, right? I mean, you're kind of
Yep.
going into it yeah, you're not going into it with the best outcome that could be delivered right at the tail end of it. That muscle
Mm,
has to be nourished. It has to have protein in
mm.
it. You need calories, like, right? And I'm a fan of taking the diet in phases. So we usually have like a phase one, a phase two, and a phase three. Phase three is obviously you're closer to the show, so there's not as much food, right? But we typically will start to like we start out the prep just with eating the cleaner things, and then the cheat meal, once a week goes away. And that's
Right.
okay, right? Because I'm in prep, so I
Yeah.
don't need to have a cheat meal. I get that
Right,
when I'm in off
right.
season. Exactly. So I mean,
Well,
and then it's much more liberal. Like I still keep the red meat in there. So lots of bison, lots of
mhm.
lean beef. Yeah, I mean it's got get good
Nice.
stuff, guys. Like really good
Yes.
stuff.
I was eating steak like 16 weeks out or something from my show still. I was like living the
Yeah,
life. I felt like, I was like, this
absolutely.
is great. I was
And I,
worried for my first show. I was going to be like lethargic and like, I have to walk to work. So I was like, am I going to be dizzy? And da da da. I said, no, I was really pleased with the diet. It's really like phase three, as you say, that gets tough. That's where it gets real tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's really the way a diet should be structured, right? Because the closer you get, the ideal physique, right? And I don't care what division it is, right? You still need to have
Mm.
minimal body fat and the best quality of clarity in those muscles as possible, right? Obviously the greater divisions that have or the greater muscularity in a division,
For
you need
sure.
to have even less body fat. But that's the whole point, right? And I'm like, what why are some people's coaches cutting out their carbs and they have no carbs for like weeks on end? It's like, come
Yeah.
on, like you're gonna be a zombie.
Yeah. It's mind blowing when I hear some of the diets, especially like throughout the amateur leagues, and when you have like I have to say like amateur coaches trying to like just figure it out along the way. And
Yeah.
I see it mostly in like bikini, quite a bit in bikini, where like the carbs are cut almost to nothing, and it's terrifying. Where they end up stalling with the
Yeah.
metabolism, and everything just kind of falls away.
And
You need some
some people's
energy for the
metabolism,
mind.
depending on what else may be going on with them, if they hit that stall point, some of them don't bounce back.
No, yeah,
Right? Because they can have so many other things going on. Maybe they've got thyroid issues, or maybe they've got some other like family history type things going on. You just don't know. So it's like coaches need to start considering and educating themselves on the complete athlete. Right?
yep,
If you aren't familiar with working with people who have like hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, then maybe you should refer that person to someone else. Right?
yes, 100
If
percent.
you aren't comfortable with looking at blood work, maybe you should refer that person to someone else. It's not, at the end of the day, yes, it's a business, but these are people that you're dealing with. These are not, disposable commodities. And people's health can be, unfortunately, gambled with. And what does that leave them with when it comes to long term? And it's almost like it's scary for some people. And
It is.
it's just for the sake of a dollar. And I've told some clients, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make money. I care more about the investment of my time and whether or not I really feel like I can help you. And if those two things aren't like at the forefront for any coach, then they shouldn't be coaching. Like, right? We want to know that everybody's on the same page with respecting each other's time and we're committed to the process, right? And that the coach feels confident that based on everything that's going on with the athlete that they're willing to disclose, because some athletes do not
Yep.
disclose, that the
That's
coach
on
feels
them.
confident that they can work with the athlete.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, and also, I like to point out while we're on this topic too, coaching male and coaching females are slightly different as well when it comes to like hormones. And a lot of
Yeah.
male coaches will treat their female coaches or female athletes almost like males, where the blood work is should be a little different. You have to be open and willing to talk about like cycles and your hormone levels and balances and making sure everything there is still running smoothly as possible anyways, because I always see
I feel like
people or
women would agree.
females getting in trouble with that down the road or even like
Yeah.
during the end of their prep cycle.
Yeah, and some coaches, they don't make the best judgment calls with some females who are already coming to the table with, certain levels or markers that are off. Maybe they're taking
Yep.
birth control, right? That still needs to be evaluated as a factor,
Yeah.
with what else may be going on with them. Certain hormonal things cause the body to retain water, hold on to more body fat, right? That all has to be accounted for. And if the person has a family history of maybe hyperlipidemia where they hold more fat,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That needs to be evaluated too, because maybe they're taking something like a statin,
Yeah.
and it's just not appropriate to do certain things to try to get them, to that extreme low level of body fat. Their body just can't handle it.
Right. And that's when you
Yeah, that's
see,
crazy.
yeah, the inexperienced people either forcing more cardio or cutting the calories, and then when there's something else
Wondering
underlying that
what?
is, yeah, something else that's underlying and keeping the competitor's body from not dropping. And yeah, so there's a lot to it,
Crazy.
and a lot of people. What's that? Sorry.
But it can just get so complicated. I'm just sitting
Hmm.
here like and so quiet. I'm like absorbing all this information. I'm gonna go
Good.
ahead and just it's absorb mode.
So
Yeah.
Like just
for the
factors
people,
I never even thought of.
yeah, for the people and all the hundreds of thousands of people that are going to be watching this, um, I just want to throw it out there too. Like, I'm pretty experienced in competing, and I've been around a lot. So we brought Caroline on because she's brand new, and she's a great. Love your energy. You're fantastic. But being brand new, I think, is fantastic to being able to come on and interview and talk to people that have so much experience. And you are brand new people like you, Caroline, are going to be the people that are just needing this information and wanting this information. So you're here to represent everybody else,
I'm. I hope
right?
I can
Yes.
definitely. I'm gonna probably have the same amount of knowledge as a lot of the people watching for sure. I'm hoping that I'll jump in there and ask these questions that
Yes,
they're sitting at home thinking like, I want to know the answer to that. Hell yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Because when I first started, guys, there weren't podcasts like this. There was
Right.
not social media. I mean, we're talking 2008, right? I think the biggest thing that was around back then was like MySpace, and I
Yeah, I
was on
remember that.
there.
All the little
Yeah, it's
forums
like
and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and the pros were, I mean, unless you could catch them at a show, which is it's still very hard to get in touch with some pros at shows because there's just
Yes.
so many people. But to
So
ask these
Mm.
types of questions is like
yeah,
priceless.
it is. So
Priceless.
again, thank you so much
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah. Anytime.
So that brings me back to a few questions that we got. So let's rewind the clock a little bit and let's go back to your amateur time. So I know before you were what were you, a competitive gymnast?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
cheerleading, yeah.
and competitive gymnast and cheerleading. So
Sweet.
what? Yeah. So what was that like, and where did the switch come into stepping on stage? Like, what the what the heck? How does this happen?
Well, I mean, it's actually pretty easy. Once I got done with the sport, um, there was nothing structured. There was
Okay.
literally
Yeah.
nothing there. I had no practices to go to. I had no games to go and perform at. And it was like, well, what do I do? And once I got into, my last year of high school and my first year of college, it was kind of like, whew, where did all that weight come from? Where did the extra
You're
10
like,
pounds and 15 and 20? And I'm like, okay, this is not okay. I'm not feeling comfortable. I'm not feeling confident. So thank God my mom had always taken me to the gym. So I wasn't
that's
unfamiliar with the
wonderful.
gym. Yeah, but I
You're
was
very very
not
lucky.
consistent with the gym.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean that consistency, even still, I was
Mm-hmm.
exposed to it, but I still was not. I had to make a decision, a very conscious decision, to really get on a schedule, right? And I kind of told myself, I'm gonna go every day. I'm gonna go every day, and it was like went for a week, and then I fell off, and it was like, okay, I came to myself, right? And it was like, all right, let's start with 3 days. If I do well with the 3 days, then I'll start adding on days. But we just got to be consistent with just the 3 days. And I started off just with committing myself to that, and then I slowly added on more days. Because yeah, once I started to see progress,
Right.
I just began to really be even more intrigued on where I could take it. But yeah, that became the catalyst. Was like, oh, wait a minute, putting on, how many ever people say freshman 10 or freshman 15. I was looking at like the freshman 20, and I was like, oh, I gotta get this weight off. This is not good.
And
Yeah, I feel that.
when you went to school for the first time, did you go directly into sports medicine or like
No, I did
sports?
not.
Sorry, sports sciences.
No, I was a marketing major. Then I was an IT. And then I was like, no, my heart is really like, because I was at that point I was going to the gym every day, and it was becoming a part of my lifestyle, and I started to see those little rewards coming, right? I felt better about, how I was like performing at school. I felt better about being more organized. I felt better about presenting myself, for work, because
Yeah,
I carried myself just a lot differently. Once I started to see that weight come off and my body starting to take a different type of, a healthier shape.
yeah.
And so then I was like, you know what? There's got to be some way I can make this a part of my life, right? So I just started looking into certain schools and like, okay, what else is there with sports medicine? What else is there with like the body movement, human movement? And that's when I came across the exercise and sports science degree. And I said, all right, this is what I absolutely love, and I will be committed to from like start to finish.
Oh,
And yeah, it's been that way ever since.
that's amazing. So did you
And I'm
continue to
still
like?
learning.
Oh, which is I think absolutely incredible with this sport and bodybuilding and fitness. We can be in it for our whole entire lives, and there's still something new. We figure out it's just a constant feed of knowledge, and just like today, we're learning lots today, which is wonderful.
Loads, baby.
uh,
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. That makes sense with the sports sciences. I was gonna say this woman's got it down
yeah,
pat. She's got
uh,
an education on this shit, guys.
right. So, um, saying that, let's go back and when you started getting into training, did you have help along the way? Like when you were beginning, so people that are coming up, like I think we all just kind of start and just go in there not knowing what the heck we're doing. Just kind of almost look like a fish out of water, right? Minus like,
Yeah.
I guess, sorry, I'm not talking about CrossFit. I'm like, when we're going in, because we like, but we're going to go into, like, you just look like you're not knowing what you're doing. Did you find someone along the way to kind of guide you in the beginning?
Yeah, I had two trainers in the beginning, one male, one female, and they just kind of seemed like we just weren't a good fit. I mean, I learned some things from them, but they couldn't really get on board with my vision. And I was also like really heavy into Oxygen magazine. So Bob
Oh,
Kennedy,
yeah.
who has since passed away. But Bob Kennedy was a huge, huge influence when it came to me learning how to structure workouts, learning how to try different movements. In his magazine, because I was a faithful subscriber,
I
there would
do
be these
remember
tear
that for
outs
sure.
where
Yeah.
yeah, he was awesome. It was great. Recipes, and exercises. And it was just something that, when I found an exercise that I liked in those tear outs, I pulled them out and I was on my way to the gym. And it was just a matter of staying on top of it to see what kind of results I could get. So, Oxygen Magazine in a sense became my trainer, until I started to like go to school and actually learn,
Oh, neat.
in college about it. Yeah, but like my first two trainers, they just yeah. Um and I told you I was not consistent when I first started. So like 18, 19, 20, I was
Right.
not consistent. And I get it. And I don't fault her for it, but she felt as though I didn't have the heart to stick with it, were her exact words.
Oh,
And she was a bodybuilder.
someone made a
She was
huge
a bodybuilder
mistake.
at the time, a
Right.
professional bodybuilder
Man,
at the time. But that's where I'm never too quick to say what someone will and won't do, because you really don't know. All it takes is a decision. But it got me mad enough to make some changes. So I guess in hindsight, I should tell her thank you.
yeah,
But again, no hard feelings. I've seen her since
Right.
I've turned, or right before I turned pro, and she extended her congratulations, and that she was proud of me. But yeah,
Oh, that's
I had
nice.
a
That's good.
vision back then that I wanted to be somewhere involved in like the fitness worlds. I didn't know for sure what. Fitness modeling was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like my thing that I thought I wanted to do. And Bob Kennedy, he messaged me, and I'm like, "How are you getting your girls on the covers? I mean, I love the magazine. I'm inspired." And he's like, "Well, we're at the shows, and if we like your look, we're probably gonna approach you." And I said, "Okay."
Nice.
And I'm like, "All right." I had gone through a bad breakup. I said, "I'm gonna do a show." And I got ready for my first show in four
Yeah.
weeks. So
In
I had
four
been
weeks.
consistent in
Okay.
4 weeks. So I had been consistent with the gym by that point. So I knew, I had a little something to work with, but now it
Right.
was like, okay, what's the next level? And the next level was, all right, be
Right.
disciplined enough to actually do a show, and let's just see where it goes.
So did you
I love that.
jump right into doing figure for your first show?
I did. I did.
Cool.
I did.
Yeah,
How,
figure.
yeah,
It's where I'm
that
at.
was
My
That's
first
my
show
jam
figure.
still. I love figure. It still has a very special place in my heart.
yeah,
Love that.
yeah. Caroline's first
I
show, she
feel like you
competed.
can almost see it.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I
Oh
competed
yeah.
figure. I
And
wanted,
she
competing
smoked
is really, really,
everybody.
really popular, but I wanted to show off my shoulders and get like a nice X frame going. I don't know. I feel like there's something to say about uh, figure competitors. They got the whole
Oh,
package.
totally.
Yeah,
And then I just feel like
Totally.
and then I feel just like it just gets more and more intense as it goes. But I feel like figure is
It
like the
does.
baby version of
yeah.
what you do.
Baby's version of
But
bodybuilding.
it's a great starting point for certain ladies who have like broader or bigger bone structure, right? If you've already got, big
Hmm.
clavicles and broad shoulders, figure is probably going to be a good fit for you, right? Or at least a good starting place for you. And for me being a former
I,
gymnast, right? Yeah, I had a lot of upper body
Yep.
that came along with, where I came from. So I mean, I mean, fitness was there, but I didn't want to take the easy way out. I mean, I could have gotten a start in fitness and done all that, but I was like, you know what? I really want to do what I know would challenge me, right? With something completely different, and I don't want to go the easy route. And so figure became, the first thing because I knew I wasn't like conditioned enough for bodybuilding, but I knew I had developed enough to possibly be a decent competitor in figure.
Yeah.
what was your first show like? Like when you walked out for figure, were you really happy with the whole thing? Like
Oh yeah.
I feel like I have so many questions on that one because I remember walking out for my figure show where people like, why are you, it's
Yeah.
probably just you're working through figure and you did physique and then you did bodybuilding. It was just probably just like we just kept on putting the muscle on. But how was your first show? Like, were you really happy with the way you looked when you first went out? I would love to see a
I was.
picture.
I was because it was just a huge change from where I started those 4 weeks before. So, I mean, I just got laser focused and I dived right into, I mean, a pretty hardcore diet because with 4 weeks to go, right, it was just a matter of, all right, we got to get as lean as we can. And I was already training 6 to 7 days a week anyway. And yeah, I mean, I wanted to dive in and see where it could go. And I felt like in once we hit like the 3 week mark, I was like, okay, I'm like, we working with a little something here, like,
Yeah.
right? I started to see like my leg muscles coming through, the back muscles, and it was like, okay, the biggest thing was just mastering the posing, because I mean, back then there weren't any local posing coaches, so I had to practice off of a DVD. So I watched that DVD for hours on end, and that's actually also when I had met my current coach. So I found him, but it was towards the tail end, and he kind of coached me through what I had already practiced. Right, he just kind of came in and made a couple of little refinements. But yeah, I felt really good because it seems like everything came together like in time for me to actually
Right.
do it.
So you
And
met your.
Right. You didn't
since I
find
didn't have the heart to stick with it, according to some
I
people,
keep.
and she happened to be at that show, and when she saw me, she was like, "Wow!" And I was like,
Wow. Like,
"Yeah."
yeah.
I
It's
was
like
pissed off. Like,
you
I'm
were
gonna show you.
wrong. It's like, yeah.
Right. That's
yeah.
right.
So you met your current coach at your first show.
Just before my first show. Yeah.
That's really cool. And
Yeah.
so you've had the one coach through
That's
your whole career
awesome.
so far.
oddly enough, back then he did not coach me.
Oh,
I knew
okay.
of him, and I would ask him to train me for leg day, but I never committed to actually having him as my coach. I was still so new, and I thought that, what I had done gotten me, third place, fourth place. I thought, oh, I can try to navigate
Okay.
it still on my own. And then women's physique came along because I took a long break after the first two shows.
Right.
Because again, women's physique was not around. There was just fitness, figure, and women's bodybuilding, and that was it. And so I was like, wow, my legs are too big for figure because the second show I was like starving, starving, and I was
Trying to
doing
make it down.
so much cardio, trying to get like, yeah, smaller. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is not working. This is
You don't have
just,
the
it's
yeah.
insane.
Don't,
And I was like, I got to take
Oh
a break.
wow.
So then yeah. So then I jumped into women's physique once that came along, and I only did one show, um, just to see where I would place during the year of 2016. And then I got smart. I said, you know what? If I'm going to really be successful in this, I probably need to get a coach. And I know the person that I trust has been training me for legs. I would only
mm-hmm.
go to him for legs for whatever reason. I just knew he could help me with my legs.
Yeah. Because you
And I
you
asked him,
saw
He
like
did it so much so that you couldn't even get rid of your legs. You're like you trained them so well I couldn't even they were permanent.
yeah, yeah.
That's
And
so
I knew, I'm
funny.
like, you know what? I haven't had a coach at this point. And I said, you know what? Let me just see where he's at with it. If he's agreeable to coach me, then I know, this is the way to
right.
go. And as soon as I sat down with him, he's like, I've been telling you that you got a lot of potential. He's like, I just wondered when you were actually going to be ready to give it a go. And I'm like, man, I should have got with you long before now. But honestly,
Yeah.
I wasn't mature
He
enough.
was like,
I
I
was
was
Well,
not
waiting
mature
for you.
enough.
There was a foreshadow.
yeah. Foreshadowing.
Hmm.
He's seen you coming, but like again,
He did.
right
He
place, right
did.
time, right? So like you just
Yeah,
needed that. You
totally.
probably needed that time to grow and like get your
I
schooling
did.
behind you, and
You got it. And then, I
Every
mean, by
time
the
you turn
time
around
we
and
agreed,
walk away, he probably look at his friends and be like, she'll be back. She'll be back.
there you go. Exactly. I mean, but yeah, let's be honest, right? Competing costs money when it comes
yeah.
to, especially the amateurs, right? But I think at the time that we decided that we would start, I had just started a new job, and I had a full-time job. I was getting a good salary, and I worked at a gym, that partnered with a hospital system. So I had more access during my work day to actually work out, right? And
Oh,
I was
cool.
teaching like group exercise classes as a part of my job. So it just, I mean, the entire environment set the tone for me to be successful when it came time for me to make the decision I wanted to get my pro card. So yeah, it worked
That's
out
really
perfect.
funny. I made the decision to get my pro card. It's like you're like, I think we've all tried to make
What a
that
Yeah.
big
decision,
deal.
but
I mean, there's something that I think that you just
I woke
know.
up one day
yeah,
and then I decided.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
It was just that simple.
So
Now, don't
that's
get me wrong, I
Like,
didn't get it the
I
first time.
decided
yeah.
to wear a jumpsuit today. I decided to go get my pro card.
So saying that,
I
that's really cool because
decided to live today.
that kind of brings us back home to you getting your pro card in Toronto. If
Oh, my
your
pro
pro
debut
debut
was
is
in
it? Your pro
Toronto.
debut was in Toronto. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, that was
how
a
was
good
that?
show
What was
too.
that like stepping on stage for the first time as a pro?
I was so nervous. I was so nervous, but I was excited at the same time because I knew I worked really, really hard that prep, and I was just going through. I was going through a lot at that time, but I made the conscious effort to like just give my effort towards the prep, like my all of my energy and attention rather to the prep because of what I was going through at the time. And it was like, you know what? I know that there's nothing wrong with my physique. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with my physique. So I just got to at this point show up and see what happens. And I did. My conditioning was like stellar, on point. But I was in the wrong division because I mean they're like, listen, you look great when you walked out, but you are just not where you should be when it comes to being the best fit for women's physique. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I got my pro card in women's physique. Like, how is this possible? But at the same time, I knew backstage. I'm like looking at these girls, and I'm like, I seem to be the mass monster compared to
A
these girls
mess.
in this lineup. I'm like, these girls are lean and like, I was lean, but it was just a different. They're much more streamlined in women's
Right.
physique. And I knew that my legs were like just the quads were just sitting out there, and I'm like,
Just sitting out there.
well,
Yeah.
I'm here now, so I just got to get up there. So I
Exactly
mean,
like blackout. Give them some air.
Yeah. And
right?
like your whole upper shelf, your
That's so
shoulders, your traps, your delts are just mind blowing. When I met you in person at the Arnold's, you had your shirt, you had the cut off mutant shirt,
That's right.
and like I was like, I can't stand beside this woman. I was like, I'm gonna look so small.
Oh
but
my God.
but you know what? After the Arnold's, I went home and I did that to my shirts. I was like, that looks so good.
Oh, thank you guys. I mean, the shirt really, I can thank Dana Lynn Bailey. Dana cuts hers on the side,
Yeah,
but I needed room for my shoulders. So I was like, man, I'm just going to cut the neck off.
yeah. I went and I did that
Now,
to a couple of my mutant
she cut
shirts when
the
I got
neck
home.
off. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take that, but I'm just going to cut the neck off and include a little bit of shoulders so I can have some room to get in there. And yeah, so thanks,
You
Dana. And I'm still
oh,
a
it
huge
was
fan of Dana.
oh
That's
yeah,
so
she's
funny.
awesome.
She really is.
Yeah. So it was functional. I see. Because I was like, I'm gonna just because like that looked awesome, and I
Thank
was just like,
you.
your traps are popping out, and I was like, oh my god. But wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh, so yeah, let's. I just a couple of more questions
Some
about
straight
your.
up envy going on.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, for people that don't know, um, Andrea and I met in Columbus. We spent like the weekend together, and we went had dinner and everything. So that was not just us. It wasn't like a. It was like the group.
It was our team.
Our team went out. Our
It
team
was
went
our
out together.
team.
Yeah, but so 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 that was a wonderful experience. And then that's when I realized it's like it's like no matter where you are, like this fitness community, we're such a strong family. And no matter what team you're a part of, we still have hold a bond with each other because we all e- experience some of the same things in a lot of the same ways. So and it's just wonderful to be have like something in common with someone like again Canadian, like so far away from you, but we still have so much respect and commonalities, which is great, and
Yeah.
this
And
makes
there's
this
a lot of
community
support.
strong. Yes.
There's a lot of support.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
being so new like myself, I was actually really surprised by that coming in and doing my first show, how many people are like just like kind of there for you, especially when I went to my first show and you're kind of like you've got no carbs, no water, no nothing, and you're like, I've never done this before. And then someone's willing to literally hold your hand, someone you've never met before, make sure you get to the meetings and the tans and stuff. It's nice, it's great.
Yeah.
You're never really once you get
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
there's
And you
always
know
someone
what?
who
You
will
can
take care of
form, yeah, exactly. And you can form these friendships that, I mean, will long outlast your competitive career, right?
Oh, yep.
Whether it's you and another competitor or you and the person who does the tanning or expediters, there's just so many different people that you will encounter as you compete, and you just never know who is that one person that could introduce you to the next new thing or the next component of what you'll need for that following prep. You just want to keep an open mind, go into it with good energy, good heart, and just always do your best, see where it lands. But I've met some of the most amazing people in this sport, and I still every year I tell people this, but it's literally like it's not a joke. Like every single year, I encounter more new people, and there's somehow every year just gets better and better. And I'm
Oh,
so grateful.
nice.
I'm just so grateful. It's amazing.
Right. And oh, that's so nice to hear.
bringing
Like,
out the crazies.
yeah, just like the genuine love for the sport and how humble you still are after winning Olympia 3 times. What was your first one like? I'm so curious because it's something that most people, 99% of the people in this entire world will never experience.
It
So
was
what
it
like
was absolutely amazing.
oh
Amazing. And to top it off, I was like, okay, I can't speak for anybody else, but I believe in God.
mm-hmm.
I feel like God gifted me with such a huge blessing that day because it was on my birthday. And it was perfect. It was so perfect. It was like
Oh,
how many
wow, you
people
can't beat that.
oh, the best
yeah.
I mean birthday gift. Like,
Happy
oh my
fucking
Wow.
God.
birthday for sure.
Oh, girl, it was
That is
outstanding.
what I did not know that. That is so that is
How'd you celebrate that night? You
Oh
have more than
man,
one thing to celebrate. Like,
once
Jesus.
we ate, I laid in bed with that
I
medal
hope
all
that was a
night,
good.
just
I hope
staring at it. I couldn't. I mean, I could barely
you
sleep. It was
probably
just
woke
so.
up and you're like, it's not a dream. I actually have this fucking thing in my hands.
Yeah, I literally
Crazy.
went to bed with it right on the pillow.
I
It
believe I
was
did
just
that.
it could not be
I
undone.
know.
Oh yeah,
And I still
Wow.
get the giddiness from it.
Right.
It's
You can
still every year. Like I
of
just
course.
and there's nothing like the Olympia stage. So I get that question a lot. Like, has the Olympia stage been like a lot different from any other stage? It is totally different from any other stage. I know a lot of Olympians who
How
have said,
show?
it's just like treat it like any other show,
right.
right? And I'm glad that the one person who did tell me that, because the first one I was so nervous because it was so new
Mm-hmm.
and it was just coming back, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know I can win it, but I'm like, I'm still just nervous. Like, what were we going to be well received? Yeah, it's just a
Right.
lot of questions, but it was just yeah, that Olympia stage is a different kind of experience, and I think that when you step out, you just know that the world is watching.
Oh, good God.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
you
That
Yeah.
guys,
like I don't even know what to describe how that would feel.
Yeah. It would be hard to put.
it's amazing.
I would be so
So, what
nervous.
was backstage like for you on your first Olympia? And then compare that to like backstage and then coming out, then comparing that to your third one. Was it the nervousness still there? Was it like the giddiness, or is
Yeah,
this like,
Looks
or are you
like
coming
a
in?
I'm
full party.
always I'm always nervous backstage, guys. Always. Like I know that people are like, you shouldn't be, or you never look like you are, but
Yeah, you don't.
when it really matters, and it's something that's so important to you, right? You're going to experience those initial kind of like jitters, right? I don't think there's any way to avoid it, right?
Yeah.
I don't care that I've done it more than once, more than twice, right? There's still that level of like, okay, it's time to perform, and all of the practice needs to be perfect or as
Right.
close to perfect as possible, right? And yeah, but you have to take a
Hmm.
deep breath, right? You have to say, all right, I want this and I want this bad and I've put in a lot of work and now it's just time to go and show
Ah.
the world what I've been working on.
Do you like I treat
I love
the
that.
show not so much as a competition but almost as an exhibit, right? Again, just like you
Yeah.
said, to show the work that you've done, and then sure, it happens you happen to be going up against somebody else's work, and then you have a
Hmm.
judge's subjective view of your body or the work that you've done. But
Yeah.
regardless, you're just showing the world. And with it,
Yeah.
when it comes to Olympia, it's honestly the world. It's not right,
It
so it's
is. It
very
really
different.
is. It
So
really is. But I mean that stage though, it's like once you step out there, it's it's
yeah,
it's amazing. It's
right.
amazing. And I absolutely love the feeling that I get right as I step out on that stage. It's wow.
When they call they call your number, then your name, and you're stepping out, and then people are just either losing their minds or they're in complete silence because they're in awe of what they're seeing.
Yeah,
Uh,
but and this past year, this was the first time that I actually heard people cheering.
Oh, really? I think we lost Caroline. She'll probably call back. Like,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. But when you're up there, like, do you like zone out? Are you like just completely out and just doing your thing, or like this time
For the
you heard
most part.
people? Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, I am. I mean, I'm listening for our MC, to speak and announce me, but at the same time, right, I'm just going over like the steps of what I need to do for my routine in my head. And yeah, I had a pause, I think, before I went out this time where I heard the people cheering, and I was just like, they're cheering for me.
There.
It's just like, wow, like really? Me? I felt so honored and so humbled by it because it was like people don't have to like you, right? It's great when they do. It is.
Right.
It's great when they do,
Yeah.
especially when you work this hard and when you sacrifice so much.
Yeah.
But it
Exactly.
made me smile. It made me smile and it made me that much more excited to just, get out there and show everybody, all of the hard work that my coaches and I put in. It's just to, hey guys, I hope you
Yeah.
like it, but I've been working super hard.
Oh, yeah, and but everyone does because you keep winning, right? And you're going on to number 4 this year. All right, that's
I'm super, super excited. I mean, I've been putting in for the last 2 years. I've actually really been more disciplined during the off season. And
okay.
it my body is actually starting to show that I've been actually following a stricter off season plan, specifically food, right? And this year training, because last year I was new to it. So I think last year I just wanted to master the food part, but this
Right.
year we mastered the food as well as getting in the extra workouts with those third leg days. So it's been a journey, and I think that this year is going to be just as special, if not even more special. My mom's coming, so I'm super excited that my mom is coming to Orlando. She's
Oh,
not seen me
that's
perform as a pro.
that's awesome. Your mom's gonna be there. Is it?
Yeah.
Has she gone to many other shows?
She has never can see me compete in person as a pro.
Holy smokes! All right, this is huge.
This is huge.
Wow.
This
Oh,
is
wow.
huge.
Does that make
Yeah,
you even
I'm
more
excited.
nervous, or are you just more excited?
I'm more excited.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
definitely because she's my biggest
great.
cheerleader, right? I mean, I'm an only child, so my mom is my biggest cheerleader. So to have her there, it's gonna be very special.
Oh, that just makes it so. That makes it. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Poor Caroline here is all over the place. I don't. Her internet connection
Yeah.
is probably not
Poor
working out so
thing.
well.
Yeah.
But
Super
wow,
excited though.
that's so cool. I've been competing since 2011, and my parents have yet to see a show because they don't live anywhere near me. So
Oh
it's
wow.
there's just it's all through photos and videos and stuff. But they're
Yeah.
still again the biggest cheerleader for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've
So
been on the journey, right? When I first started, and it's a healthy dose of skepticism, right? Where parents are like, I don't know if you really want to give that much to this. You really,
right,
but then they let you follow your heart, they let you follow your passion. And it's a gift I think that they give us because they want to see the best for us. But we have to explore. We have to see, where our passions really truly are fueled. And I
yes,
think that competing gives us that avenue to really delve to that.
right. That's yeah, that's absolutely beautiful, and I agree. That's that's really wonderful, and that's like another place to draw strength from, I think, too, while you're going through prep and while you're like in the dark times where it's just really hard, and you're like it's like you got mom in the background like come on, or in the
Like,
back of
come
your head
on.
even too, like let's go.
Yeah, I mean, she even comes and does some of my cardio sessions with me. So
Still she still goes, she still trains with you.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And I mean,
that
he's just like, all right, just tell me when and where, and we're there. And I'm like, thanks, mom.
That's so, you're so fortunate. That's great with that. Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
am.
Caroline, I think you made it back.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I guess it works the best for my phone, which almost doesn't really make any sense. So I feel like I should find a better lighting spot. We'll go on a little journey together through my house.
Okay.
So
All right.
professional is that?
It sounds good.
Cool. And will you get to
Yeah.
meet one of my boys? Oh, he ran away. Can I say hello, Ptolemy?
Oh,
Come here.
he's like, no.
Oh, it's
Oh,
cute. That was actually not a
yes.
bad. That actually isn't a bad spot. Are you on your stairs? Let's
Oh
talk on
yeah,
your stuff.
yeah. No, he was just like chilling on the stairs, and I'm gonna have to go all the way up to the living room, my normal spot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There
That's
you
that.
go. Get
Yeah, see that
cozy.
looks pretty good there actually. Were you? I think
Ta-da.
you must have been in the. You must have been hiding in the basement where there was no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I
Right?
guess. Yeah, I mean, I had bars. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'll just sit
Right,
right beside the modem.
right
There you
there.
go.
See, all right. You look. It's great now. Picture's good. Sound fine.
Perfect.
Perfect. We tried. Yeah, next time we're gonna stay away from that room then, I guess.
Ah,
It's haunted.
Wise choice.
Darn.
yeah. All right. Cool. Caroline mentioned something about wanting to see some old photos. Do you mind if I pull one of your Instagram pictures up?
Oh yeah, sure.
Let's I want to try to get something here.
I posted a reel recently too of
That's what
my
I'm
older.
putting up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it and
It
I was
took
like,
me
that's
long enough.
awesome.
Took me long enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to see this. I think that's so cool you did figure.
Oh yeah. I mean I love me some figure. Still support the division a lot.
Oh, so this
And
one
my
here.
friend, my good friend now, the six-time GOAT of figure.
Yep.
Oh, there she is. That's where we started.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's where you started. How old were you there?
I was 25.
25. So you started competing and getting into fitness around your 20, like were you competing at this particular time in
Yeah, at that point, I was probably about 6 weeks out from show day, and I was sending those photos to a lady to tell me whether or not she thought I would be ready.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, I don't think you're gonna be ready," and that just added more fuel to the fire.
Oh,
I
for
was just like,
sure.
"Okay, I'm coming for it. I'm
I
going.
was
I'm
gonna
doing it. I don't care."
so I'm
Yeah.
gonna just let you roll through. So are these your
Oh,
first
look
few
at that.
show? Look at that.
Doing it. Oh my God. That's
See,
your
do you
first
see?
show? You look amazing.
No, the
You
photos
look
before that.
so,
Same suit, but different. Yeah.
Right,
So when you see me with the heels on, yeah, those are the figure photos.
right. Like, okay, what is this one? This is unbelievable. This is crazy.
That is women's physique right
Right.
before that was my first national level show. So I did North Americans in
Yep.
2018 and that was August. I came in third place. So that's where I knew I'm like there's nothing wrong with my physique, but my posing needed some
Posing. Okay.
attention.
Like that
that's
is
so
Oh
not
yeah.
important.
unbelievable.
Yeah. That was when I got my pro card.
This one here in your
Yep.
like look at the
Yeah,
quads
you look pro for
and
sure.
Yeah, but as
Amazing.
you can see, this look was a little softer than when I was at North Americans.
yeah, if we were we can't really roll back with the Instagram, but this is definitely a little bit softer, which is I think kind
Mhm.
of in this category is a little bit more ideal, eh?
Correct. Correct.
But like your back here and your left, like you can see it really see it in your left leg where your quads and your hamstrings are just so dominant.
Dominant.
Really.
They are.
Like holy smokes.
Yeah, they look fucking amazing.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's what
And
I'm
that was
going for
actually a
next time,
So
goals.
like
pro
this one
debut.
here,
Toronto.
right? This is your Toronto. Okay. So
Yeah,
again,
pro debut.
you have like the softer look a little bit more here too as well in this
Yeah.
pose anyway.
So You got it. And I mean, that was kind of our goal, was to see if we could keep some softness, but then sharpen up some other areas.
Right.
Specifically, like my quads, because again, women's physique, their quads can be a little bit sharper, and we just wanted to see where we could kind of take that. But everything with the upper body, we tried to keep pretty much the same.
Yeah. Like your rear delts and your triceps look nuts. Like,
Thank
okay,
you.
like, right? Holy smokes. Yeah. And there we go. Here we. That's a
Bodybuilding.
yes.
There's the sauce right there.
Right. Like, oh, I
So
love
yeah.
when you see like when you're hitting the poses, the bodybuilding poses. Great.
Thank you. And it was a huge adjustment. I mean, because I had been in women's physique so long, it was kind of odd to pose
Like
as a female bodybuilder, because I was like, how do you
like
pose strong but graceful?
like
And it
I
took me some
Right?
time to really
exact.
master that. Yeah,
That is a really good
I think
question.
that's hard. Trying to be very
it
strong and
was.
graceful at the same time.
It,
If
it, wa- it was.
that's a toughie. Yeah. You almost have to be like extra strong, like have even better muscle connection to keep it engaged but move it in like a nice soft way.
Yeah, yeah. To truly develop
Right.
a flow, right, with your
Yes.
Yeah.
physique.
This one is your wow, the shoulders. You
Omaha
can just
Pro.
see the shoulders growing on you as we go.
Oh yeah. I mean, at that point, I had no restraints like I
Right.
had
You
with
could
women's physique.
yeah. You could just keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
And
Amazing.
That is
I
probably
finally
one of my
like you could
favorite shots.
yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
And I love the closed fists too that comes with bodybuilding.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so much easier to squeeze.
Yes, exactly.
It is. It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to see it
That
in
was
your
my
face.
birthday, guys.
That's
That
your
was my
birthday?
birthday.
That's so funny. The day you won.
Yep. First
Oh,
one.
wonderful. And
It
That's
was
I
so
love
perfect.
you get to see the
It was
happiness
so
in your
perfect.
face, right? The joy.
Oh,
yeah.
pure joy. Pure
Like
joy.
the little play buttons in the way, but like you can see like your ham and glute tie-in and the separation between the quads and the like yeah, that's just wonderful. Like that is a lot of
Def
work.
it comes
So,
almost natural too. Like your body just knows exactly what to do.
yeah. Yeah. And
Yep.
once we took the restraints off, it was like, wow, okay,
Right.
this is outstanding. We were almost like, whoa.
Like, did your progress even like surprise you? Like the way that your body responded to your to training and to the food?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's still, even that shot there, because that was last year. I mean, when I look at it, I'm like, whoa,
Right.
like this is such a big difference compared to, like, even my pro debut. It was just like, wow.
Right. And then
Yeah.
there, and then we all.
Right?
So I
Like, who
like
is that girl? Who
I
is
like
that girl?
showing this because it's like everyone starts somewhere, right?
Yeah. And I tell people, you know what? You need to be, number one, open to being flexible along the way, right? The hardest transition was between divisions was from figure to women's physique. Because at a certain point, again, I knew that my quads were not going anywhere. I knew that I was giving a lot of effort, but I was only going to get so far in figure, even though I was doing 3 hours of cardio, eating very minimal food. I mean, I think I may have cracked 900 calories a day
Oh,
while I was on
goodness.
that.
What?
Yeah, oh yeah, I was literally just about starving when it came to how I was going after, um, that figure
Yep.
title that I wanted when it came to figure. But at a
Jesus.
certain point, I got on stage at 140, and these girls are getting on stage at, like, 110, 118, 120. I'm still a whole 20 pounds heavier, and
Yeah.
it was like, this is not going to work.
No.
And so
Oh
You're
my
yeah,
you're
God,
it
I
was
know what's like
mentally.
you Jesus, it's definitely not gonna work if you had to eat
yeah.
nothing to get there. That's definitely not worth it. Hell no.
So I think it's funny. So a lot of people fight their genetics in the opposite way, where we're trying to push size, we're trying to get bigger. Like where I had the problem of like I sit around the top of the middleweight class, and I'm just like trying to push to even keep that. But like for you to hold to actually try to rein it back to fit into a class almost every for that'd be really difficult.
Sounds unheard of.
And knowing to going into a prep would be like, oh, I gotta knowing you gotta suffer again to get down. So how did you
Yeah.
battle that mentally, knowing you were going to go into a prep trying that you're going to be like trying to suck back down to a certain weight? Like, where did that fortitude come from?
Well,
Just
I wanted to at least try. I mean, that was the biggest thing. People had already doubted me.
yep.
So I definitely wanted to at least try to prove to myself and to them that, you know what, I still have something in there that's very, very special. And I just got to figure it out, right? I just got to figure it out. So if I finish this show, I'm going to learn something, and I'll be able to take that as another piece to add to, this big goal of, wanting to be, as successful as I possibly can. And that's kind of how I had to just think about it. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to be in really, really good shape, and I'm going to walk away with some sort of wisdom or some sort of knowledge that I will be able to apply. Because it's almost like if you don't compete and
Mm-hmm.
you think you're going to get all the pieces without doing some sort of work to see what happens with your body, it's not possible, right? Everything else is just theory, right? You really have to actually put yourself in a position to compete, and then start putting stuff like into motion. You have to put it into action and evaluate whether or not it's something that's really going to work for you or not. And so, yeah, I committed myself to, after, I sulked a little bit
Yeah.
from figure, because I knew the figure dream was over, right? But I said, you know what? I'm gonna try to see what happens with women's physique. Was a new division, and I said, you know what? These girls carry a little more muscle, very similarly to like I do. And I said, yeah, let's just see where it goes. And I was like, you know what? I might as well at this point hire a coach. I did okay in figure, right? I came in third and fourth, which is not bad, but like if I'm gonna really level up, I need somebody to walk me through and guide me.
Right.
And that's when I finally told my coach, I said, let's just do as many shows as we can do in 2018. If you feel like I'm ready to go to the national level, then we go. But I'm committed and ready to do as many shows as you tell me to see how I can come along. Yeah, and it didn't take long. It did not take
No.
long at all. So
No,
it was
no,
like, you know
did
what?
not.
Thank God. But you got to have that willingness to try. And some people
Yeah.
get so caught up into, what happened at the last show for them. And it's like, okay, you can still learn from it. You can still move forward.
Take that
You gotta, and
experience.
I knew like after, coming in third place, I came home and I booked my next flight to Miami to do nationals like immediately. I didn't wait.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Yeah.
I said, I want to try. I want to give it a go. I got on the line with my posing coach at the time, and I was like, you know what? I feel like I can use more coaching, because I didn't have a posing coach when I went to the first national level show. But I knew that my physique was on point, and I'm like, all right, I need to add opposing coach in, right? So that was another layer of being able to add in an experience and more wisdom and knowledge. So I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. And as soon as I got in front of Kenny Wallach, he says, "Oh, you're gonna be good. Don't
Oh,
worry, I got you. Just do. Let's just
Yes,
let's just
saw that
ride this
body.
this
He was
train."
like, "Here we go.
Yeah,
Buckle up."
exactly, exactly.
Yes. He said,
Yep.
"You're giving me so much to work with. This is fucking awesome."
this is great. Uh, so,
But had I stopped at just figure, right? Like,
right.
oh,
Yeah, it might
right?
be. It
Or
might be
or
done.
or my first women's physique show. I did my first women's physique show in 2016, but I didn't go pro until 2018.
Right. So
Right.
yeah. So if you would have just stopped and yeah, so many could have so many, your life would be very different. Right. So
But
again,
you
like
did it.
Don't give
And now
up.
we're here.
Don't give up. Don't give
Yes.
up.
I just got a couple more questions. We'll get into if that's
Yeah.
okay, and then I guess what was your feelings like, and what did you experience when bodybuilding for female bodybuilding disappeared for a little while?
That's a great question. I was not I was actually not really into it at that time.
Okay.
I was still so far removed, and it's still kind of in the mindset of, if I were to get back on stage, that figure was not going to happen. So
Right.
I had that long span of time where, I just completely disconnected from anything related to competing. So yeah, I mean, and in evaluating it though, when it did go away, right, from what I know about it, it just seemed like it was a very unplanned, well, I shouldn't say unplanned. It was a very rash decision.
Yeah.
And it seemed like maybe they should have given it another, um, maybe given the criteria for the division a review, right?
It's a
Maybe
good. Yeah,
made
it's a good
some
way.
changes before it was just taken away. But, I can understand, for some reasons why it was taken away. Not that it was right, but I can understand that it
Right.
was, because all athletes should be celebrated.
Oh, 100%.
So, yeah, it's just a matter of being honorable to the athlete. This is still a sport. So I really don't care what the sport is. Every athlete in every sport should be celebrated. So yeah, but then again, I was kind of happy that they took it away
Yeah.
just a tiny bit,
Just.
because then when it comes back, right,
Oh, it's
we
like
get to now redefine what it is that is going to be the standard.
right. That makes sense.
Yeah,
It's
because my
like
eyes were not set on being a female bodybuilder, guys. I had no intentions on going down that road at all.
right. Wow. So then you kind of come back and
Oh, sorry. No, 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 it's all good. Sorry.
okay. So
Talking to
yeah.
kids there.
All right. So you kind of come back and then you're able to redefine what it is to be a female bodybuilder, and then you are almost leading the way with that, and giving everybody else, you've become what everybody else is trying to aspire to now. So
True,
that's yeah.
true. But I always want to make sure I am encouraging to my fellow competitors. So, it's just a matter of making sure that we collectively understand that we all have to bring it. We all
Yes.
have to show up ready to compete and be prepared, right? This is something that if we're gonna be athletes and serious about representing our division well, just specifically women's bodybuilding,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta show up. You gotta show up, and you have to do your very best. We really shouldn't be at a point now where, with it being back, people get lax. We shouldn't be. I'm not saying that people haven't been, because it's
No.
clear that some people have been, and I can't
And
engage
it's
in conversation with those folks. It's
yeah.
not even, it's not worth the time. However, collectively, I try to at least express to them, we have to show up, and we have to bring all the bells and whistles. We do.
You
We do.
kill it.
We have to bring all the bells and whistles, because for it to be back, you are just as much a representation as all of us.
100%.
So you need to bring it.
Yeah. Like no matter what stage you're stepping on.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't care whether it's Tampa Pro, nationals, amateurs. I have discussions with some of these amateurs, ladies too.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a female bodybuilder and you're going into being an amateur, let's start developing some good habits that will make you an even better pro.
100%. So saying that, and we're talking here on this podcast mostly to amateurs. Um, let's start to finish off with like, what are some of those good habits that you would suggest these ladies to bring to the stage or
Oh,
to
man,
off season?
yeah. Number one, off season is the time where you make the improvements. It is not the time to chill. It is
Mm.
not. It is not that. You better have a plan about what you're going to work on during that off season, because once prep starts, I look.
Oh no, no.
What is going on here? There
Oh,
we go.
Okay, sorry, ended up getting a
okay.
phone
Oh
call.
yeah,
Am I
you're
back?
back. Sorry.
Okay, good. All right, sorry about
Yeah,
that. I
that
had
happens often.
yeah. Off season. The off season is not the time to chill. It's not the time to get sloppy, and it's not the time for you to just go along with no plan. You need to have a plan, and you need to have something significant that you're working on, and you need to hold yourself accountable to someone, not just yourself. Some people can really do well with holding themselves accountable, but it's a next level, right? When you have somebody who holds you
Right.
accountable. Because now, again, if you've got a plan and you need to execute on the plan, you should be checking in with somebody to make sure that you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing to actually hit the mark, to
Hell
meet the
yeah.
goal. Because when I look at prep is just a matter of showing what you've been working on
Mm-hmm.
during the off season. And if you haven't been working diligently on something, chances are you're probably not going to see any improvements.
You're so right, and so many people need to hear
So
this.
definitely
Gotta get
get
that
get
off season.
get an off season plan.
I'll be starting my very
Yeah,
first
get an
off
off season
season.
plan. And a lot of times that starts
Yeah.
good. Go in with a
Yep.
plan. Go in with a plan. All the areas you know you need to work on, about how you're going to work on them. How many days per week are you willing to devote to this? How many exercises are you planning to do for this particular area, right? How many reps? How many sets? What's going to give you, some good some measures to actually evaluate over the course of 6 weeks, 8 weeks,
Right.
10 weeks, right? Yeah, get down
Exciting.
into
I
the
can't
nitty
wait to
gritty
see
of
how
it
it all
because
goes.
again, yeah, and if it can be measured, it can be improved.
Right. So when you're looking at measurements, are you looking for you, or would you suggest for other females, males, whoever? It's all kind of the same. Would you be looking at measuring strength, measuring your endurance, measuring muscle size? What are you looking at to see that's going to be improving through the off season? Because usually when everything is covered and
I
you're
think for
eating, you can't really
bodybuilding,
see what's happening too much underneath.
yeah, I mean you can though, you really
Well,
can, right?
a little,
So,
yeah.
depending on what their off-season structure is like, right? Each division is going to be a little bit different, right? So some women, like for me, for instance, this was the first off-season that I've had this year where I could still see, like separation in my quads,
Ah,
right?
nice. Yeah,
That
good.
means my conditioning is going to be at an elevated level
Mm-hmm.
by the time we get to the next show day, right? So these are things like, and yes, measuring size, right? Whether it's bicep size, back width, waist, um, glutes. I do that for a lot of my wellness competitors and my bikini competitors. Yeah, I want to measure those glutes. If this is something that we're trying to grow, we're going to start measuring it.
Good.
And we,
Okay.
we should have measurements for where you start and where you are in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, right? And we definitely want to try to put in as much work as we can, right? Between, I would say 1 to 2 months is a good enough time to like measure, closer to 2 months, because I think 8 weeks is a good solid, just keep your head down and do the work, right? And just get the meals in on time and get the work done. And then we remeasure. And the numbers don't lie. We
No,
can definitely tell. And the scale, right? I don't like the scale as much, but when it comes to bodybuilders, right, or the more muscular divisions, it can serve a purpose.
for sure. You can see those numbers
Yeah.
bouncing around.
Makes
hmm
sense. Do you
So
find it hard to train?
hire a coach.
Yeah.
Do I find it
Do you
hard to
find it hard to
train?
train people when you're training for an Olympia yourself, or are you not training anyone right now?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, at a certain point, my clients know. Yep, sorry, I got it. I got to step back.
Right.
Oh,
No,
for
that
sure.
makes
Yeah.
complete sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a business call, right? I take it personal because I feel like they trust me, and I feel obligated to make sure that they are, attaining a certain level of results while they're with me. But at the same time, this is the opportunity that I have right here, right
Yeah.
now,
Oh my
to go
gosh,
after
take
this.
it.
So
It's all about you all the time, like for everybody. It's all about them. Not in like a conceited way, but you got to put yourself first, like always, in my
yeah,
opinion.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and
Agreed.
bodybuilding requires it's going to require a lot. It is. It's going to
Yeah,
require a
it
lot.
does. Is there anything that you like to add to, say, somebody that's coming up and thinking about competing, or thinking that
I
might have?
would. I
Yeah.
would. So yeah, have an off-season plan.
Yep.
Number one. Hire a coach.
Are you
Number two.
taking clients?
Not right now.
Or like, but like after Olympia prep is done, after
I am
after number 4.
after I win this fourth Olympia.
Yeah.
Yes, the books will be back open.
Oh
Okay.
my
And they
God,
will
you might see
open.
me in your DMs. That would be
Okay, okay.
crazy. You might.
They will.
You know what? I might, yeah,
I only take
do
a
my research.
certain level, a certain number of competitors every year. So the books will open from January up until about probably June. And then for people, and that's the thing. Like if you have a target show,
Yeah.
I cannot. Like it has to be when I'm not in prep.
Of
It's just
course.
it
That
is
makes
what it
complete
is.
sense.
Yeah, if I'm gonna give an athlete my full attention and my best, then I can't be in my own prep. I just
Right.
can't because
Yeah.
it
That
requires
makes
a
Yeah, that
sense.
lot.
sounds like a lot.
Yeah. And I think that athletes who are amateurs, now this was a habit of mine or a strategy of mine, I should say. Um, get into the practice as soon as you start the prep, you start your posing. Do not
Good
wait
call. Yeah.
until you get to the tail end to try to start mastering posing. Number one, it gives your posing coach time to actually evaluate your body, right? From the very beginning. But as your body changes throughout prep, you've been practicing a lot of the basics so much, right? Now it's easier to go in and make small adjustments.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
practice your posing as soon as you start the prep. It's just not a smart idea to try to put yourself under that kind of stress or the posing coach when you
Within.
could have more well planned with how you wanted to execute on that. And yeah, I mean, hire a posing coach if your coach doesn't do posing. Sometimes it gets because I have a prep coach and a posing coach, and so you got to be just aware of where somebody's expertise may serve you better, right? So I knew that with my posing coach, I mean, she's won 6 times for a reason.
Ha.
She's very, very
Cool.
good at posing. She's very good at
Who
posing.
who is your opposing coach?
Sydney Gillen.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just giving her a little
Yeah,
shout out. Great.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's my girl. Yeah, and I mean, aside from getting a posing coach, practicing your posing as soon as you start the prep, practicing your finals routine. If you are one of the divisions that does a finals routine, if you're not really good at planning it, hire it done.
Yeah.
Hire it done. I still hire it done. I mean, like my girl Rachel, she does an excellent job preparing the music as well as the routine. Because again, now you have to, for those of us in the more muscular divisions, not only do you need to practice your posing, you need to practice the performance routine for finals, right?
Yeah.
You need to be able to plan your schedule effectively to be able to get it all done. So again, when you start early, right, and you got these things going right when you start the prep, or within that case, I usually like to reach out to Rachel before I start the prep, because there's we have to select a song, right, and then I have to kind of listen to the song, meld with the song. If that song's not good, I got to pick a different song. Give yourself that grace of time, right? But by the time you start the prep, you should be pretty close to um, you know, having all that set, right? And the person should be
Definitely.
able to get you your posing routine delivered not too long after you start or when you start the prep, if you're planning this out well.
Right.
And then lastly, when it comes to being an amateur, you're going to have expenses. They are going to add up,
Yeah.
and you are going to be possibly frustrated if you don't prepare some sort of a strategy beforehand. So when I was an amateur, I had a spreadsheet. I knew exactly how much certain things cost, whether it was tanning, me going to get a suit, me buying certain supplements like my joint supplements, L-carnitine, my glutamine, right? I was very strategic and I knew down to the penny how much certain things were going to cost. And then I spared the expense of like hair and makeup. So I budgeted for hair and makeup for me to do it on my own. But then
Nice.
I incorporated help. So I hired a makeup artist to teach me how to do my makeup so that way I could do
Oh,
it on the go.
That's pretty
Oh,
smart.
that's smart. I like
Yeah.
that. I would
Yeah,
love to do that. I do
exactly.
makeup now for a living anyway, part of my aesthetics and stuff. So I did my own nails and everything like that, my own lashes and all that stuff for my own
See?
show. Yeah.
Great
Perfect.
way. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, and I mean that it goes a long way when you know, right? Because again, competing, you got to pay for tanning. If you're into hair and makeup and that you don't want to do, but you want to pay for it, that's still a cost, right? There's
Yeah.
a show entry fee. There's your NPC card. I needed to know down to the penny how much it was going to cost me to compete. And once we started getting into more travel, right? I picked my first national level show based on the fact that we could drive versus fly.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Smart.
So I
Nice.
mean, again, I was trying to cut costs. Even when I did my pro debut, it was a matter of I could drive to Toronto, living in Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
versus getting on a plane and going somewhere else.
Right.
Right.
Right. So
Great. Yeah.
again, be very strategic about how you, because you still got to pay for food. You still got to make sure that you're paying your coaches. It can add up really quick.
100%.
Oh, it
And if
does.
there's a smarter way to do it, hold
Like,
yourself accountable to the financial end of budgeting, because then you don't feel as much stress.
for sure. Um,
I'm
I,
gonna do that for
I,
my next show.
what's that?
So I'll do that for my next show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Sounds
highly
As
recommend.
soon as I finished my, as soon as I finished my show, The Gladiators, a couple months ago, I was already on the boat starting to save for nationals, which is in Toronto in 11 and a half weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm doing nationals, and then if everything goes to plan, I will see you in Olympia because I'll be doing Olympia Amateur.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
crazy.
sweet.
So again, but that comes down to play. Yeah, yay! Hopefully, yeah. But that comes down to planning, and again, like saving and budgeting. Like if this idea of the shows was set like 8 or 9 months ago, and like
Hmm.
happening, right? So you gotta be prepared, and I think bodybuilding and the fitness lifestyle really kind of ingrains prep and preparation, a life prep. Yeah, sure, we can prep and we
Yes.
know how to make our meals for the whole week, but that transfers over into everything else in this world and like the
Yeah.
life lessons that this can teach us,
Exactly. And that's why I
right?
tell people that's the joy of like competing, that structure. You're
Yeah,
almost forced to make every other aspect of your life have some sort of structure. Because if you don't, you're not going to be, something's going to fall by the wayside, right? So you're almost forcing yourself to find ways to structure your life so you can still engage in your hobbies.
exactly. All right, we're getting pretty long. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I have like more questions, but we can. It's and we're
We can always
yeah.
do a follow up.
Yeah, I'm super curious because yeah, I don't want to keep you too much longer because we gone through a bunch, but we still have more. But maybe we can hit
Okay.
some other day
Yeah,
if
cool.
that
How about maybe one more? One more question. Fire away.
one more. Um,
Yeah.
let's go back. Okay, kind of keeping on the track with being preparation and all of that. After the show
Mhm.
is done and the schedule has disappeared and you kind of go back into normal life. How do you handle the loss of uh, the routine? How do you handle coming off of a prep and off of a show, and then there's like the high, then all of a sudden nothing gone. You don't have to train legs 3 times a day if you don't want to. You don't have to go to the gym anymore. You've done it, and now there's nothing for until you make another goal, I guess. How do you handle the
Well,
post-show blues?
initially, well, I got rid of them. That's what I did. Because yeah, my first two were a bit challenging because it was a matter of I felt guilty. Like, oh my gosh, I feel like I need to be doing something. Like, why am I not feeling like number one happier about obviously I just yeah, right. It's like,
Right,
okay, what do I do? So this is where having an off-season plan really can help you to start to navigate out of the post-show blue waters.
right, okay, yeah,
So I give myself 1 week to just enjoy the things that I want, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. But then once I hit that second week, then I start my reverse diet. And with that reverse diet, there is a reverse plan.
That
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
you got to remember what we do with competing is we put our bodies in such a deficit when it comes to the calories, right?
Yeah.
You really shouldn't be extremely liberal with your eating to the point where you start to gain excessive amounts of weight. One way to combat that is to have some sort of structure to how you do want to work out, because you do still need to work out. That's not going to go away.
Yeah. No.
But okay, cardio for me, no longer an hour a day, but now we're going to go down to 4 days at 20 minutes. Cool.
Okay.
That's
Good.
manageable, totally doable. And once a week, I get a cheat meal. All right. So now it's just about moving from one structured plan to the next structured plan.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I think that when you can find, uh, yeah, you can find more fun things to do. So one thing that I used to do was go to like group exercise classes, right? Because now at this point, you don't have to be so
Group
focused on
exercise
training a certain
classes.
type of way. You just need to keep, yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Spin class.
I was like, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
they don't have the weights for you in there.
just for fun.
Oh, boot camp.
Love
I
it.
mean, yeah, you can go.
Okay, the boot camp and the cardio stuff. Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, and that's just one thing, right? It doesn't have
Right.
to be that. Um,
Exactly.
I also kind of gotten into, yeah, I mean, shortened workouts, right? So like shortened lifts. Okay, maybe I only need to be in the gym for 40 minutes. I'm just gonna do, these particular supersets or giant sets, my 20 minutes of cardio, and I'm out.
And yeah.
Right? Like I don't need to stay in the gym a long time anymore, right? And it's not that I'm even in the gym a long time now, but when it comes to one session for lifting and then a totally separate session for cardio, yeah,
There you
that's
go.
that's going to be significant amounts of time in the gym.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh my God.
restructuring what, off season looks like.
I feel like if you didn't find 3, 4 hours at the gym long, I'm curious, what would a long day at the gym be for you? Like a full 8 hours? I'm just teasing. That's crazy. That's
Like
nuts.
working?
So, yeah. 45 minutes or an hour is perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
That's in and out. That's in and out. That's like
oh, it really
nothing.
is. It's ideal. Yeah, it's ideal. I mean, really. And that's where competitors really need to find, some other things that kind of bring them joy as well, right? So spending more time outside if you live in a warmer climate,
Yeah.
planning a vacation, right? Where, yeah, again, if you're having weekly cheat meals, you shouldn't be too tempted to like really go off the wagon with your food.
Yeah. It
You haven't earned
shouldn't
it,
be too bad.
right? You need to earn that cheat meal. Yeah. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
try to get into. I like to get into doing other acts of service. So I think that sometimes when you can get yourself more involved with helping someone else, right, or
That's
contributing some of your time to a cause, right? Now it's a matter of you don't even have the time to get into the blues. You're too busy, executing on the plan, and then you're helping somebody else achieve something, right? So it's a redirecting of your thoughts and your patterns towards that.
wonderful. Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. That's
So well
very
rounded.
yeah, and
So,
very insightful, and like that's a great way.
some
I
ideas for
think.
your off season.
Yeah, that's a great way to spend
Yeah,
the
I
off
mean
season
that's
for
where
sure.
you
And
gotta
then
you gotta appreciate the prep as well as the off season.
they're both two different types of work, but they're both work, and it's
Yeah,
a lot of good comes from both of them.
agree, agree. And then when it's time for prep to come back around again, I think that if you've been executing on the plan, it makes it that much. You can feel your eagerness like start to come up because it's like I've been working and I've
Yeah,
been diligent about my off season and now I'm ready, right? So it's yeah, it feeds one feeds right into the other.
right.
You just got to make sure that you're okay with the structure and you have that accountability built in too, because sometimes if that accountability is not built in,
It's
you may want to
yeah.
slack, right? You may
That's
be easy to slack.
that's yeah. That's
Oh
off.
yeah, it's not
Obviously,
hard to slack at all.
I don't
When
want to
you've
keep
got nothing
yeah.
going on, like I've got nothing. definitely
wanna,
slacking over
yeah.
here.
Yeah, I don't want to keep
I
dragging
can't
the
wait to
thumb,
start.
but yeah, that's when an off-season coach is also very helpful too for accountability,
Very,
right?
very
So a
helpful.
lot of people will just hire a prep for or hire a coach for prep, and then off season they're just off doing their own thing. So
Yeah.
I think that's also worthwhile as well.
And if your prep coach doesn't really do the off season thing, start maybe entertaining finding someone who does.
Yeah,
That's the joy of competing, right? You have competitors as a resource, you have judges as a resource, expediters, because these people know people, right? So you tell them what it is that you're looking for, and chances are somebody knows
they will.
somebody who can
Yeah.
help you.
I got one more thing.
Yeah,
Do you have your Olympia medal behind you?
I do not, but I can grab it.
Oh, can we see it?
Yeah,
And
here we
then,
go.
You
So,
want to see the medals?
it's under your pillow.
yeah, it's still on your bed.
Well, I have them
Yeah.
actually in my room. And so let me turn the TV off because it is going to be loud. And
There you go.
here are my
There they
mittens.
are.
There you
There she
go.
floats. They look huge.
They're
They
beautiful.
are.
Yeah.
They are, and they're very heavy.
I was curious
Very
about that. What are
heavy.
they made out of?
I have no idea, but they are
But
super
they're
heavy.
heavy and
Like,
they're
yeah, I dropped one, and it was like it's so loud when they cling. It's like,
oh,
whoa.
awesome.
Yeah, so I have them lined up. I have my stands ready for my next one. Yeah,
Oh, that's exciting too.
Your stand's ready.
it's
I
so
love
exciting.
that.
Yeah. We will
It's
definitely
so
be following
exciting.
and cheering you along. 100%.
I can't
Thank
wait to see
you.
that. Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be great.
And I will,
Oh, I'm
if
so
everything goes to
excited, you
plan,
guys.
I
If
will
they
be
told me we
there.
could do it tomorrow,
Yeah.
be great.
Ready.
If,
And you're
if
12 weeks out, you said? From that?
I am
Or
10
10
weeks
weeks?
out.
10
for
weeks out. Whew.
10 weeks.
from the Phoenix,
Yeah, from the Rising Phoenix, and
Rise
15 weeks
Phoenix.
out from the Olympia.
Yeah.
Oh, 15. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So that
okay.
pretty
Yeah,
much
that's
falls exactly the same as my Toronto show. So as
I'm excited to see your
Okay,
routine.
cool.
12 to yeah.
And believe it or not, I'm not nearly as nervous for the Olympia as I am for the first show.
For the Rise of Phoenix. Really?
Weird. Why? Why?
Because the first show is usually a very telltale show as
Yeah.
to how I'm going to look for the Olympia.
Yeah. I have so many questions.
Oh,
I
So
have
that
so many
shows
questions
me.
about that, but we could try to maybe leave that for another time. Like I have questions
Okay,
about
cool.
like between the two shows and that whole process because it's very interesting and it's a
Oh
little
yeah,
different. It's a very different kind of a prep, right?
a little
Between the
bit.
two
I
shows.
only take 3 days off. I
Yeah.
take 3 days off to just kind of
But
relax, indulge in whatever I want to eat. Cardio still happens. Training still happens, with the exception of like Sunday. I think Sunday. I mean, I would do cardio, but if I don't lift, then it's not a big deal. The cardio still has to be a part of the program, though.
yeah.
But yeah, those 3 days are super important, and I've gotten into the habit of trying to take like a mini little getaway
Right. Yeah.
just after that first
Nice.
show. If I can get away for 4 or 5 days just to do the cardio,
Just
get into a
come
gym and
down and
lift, but just have a different scenery, right?
yeah.
There's just different atmosphere. And then I come back home, and then I just hit the ground running.
Cool.
love that.
Yeah.
And that part we'll
Yo,
get into
this
that
is
some other
exciting.
time because I have more questions about that stuff.
Oh my God, a
Okay.
nice a nice post show. A nice post show interview. You can put that. You can wear your medal for the whole
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm game.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
if you're game, yo, we're gonna do it. You'll be hearing from either me or him. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll do it behind his
Cool.
back. I'll mess with
I'll
you.
have
I'm
your
gonna
own
hold you to
podcast.
it.
You're going to start your own, aren't you? Okay, I see
No,
how.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not starting my own. I'm
Okay,
gonna just
thanks.
for yours. For yours. No, I wouldn't. I don't. I can't. You guys got that ambition. I'm just here for the ride. Here
Awesome.
for the ride.
Well,
Hey, eventually stepping up, girl.
yeah,
Eventually.
Oh yeah,
not a problem. We all got to start somewhere, right?
That's
I love it.
right.
We've got like
That's
three
right.
different
Wow,
levels
well, you
going on.
have my blessing.
There you go.
I'm wishing you all the good luck and the good vibes as you get ready to compete, though. It's exciting.
Yeah, thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna take that. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
definitely be holding on to that one for my bulking season. Like,
Just keep it in
for
mind.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your plan and get on it.
Yeah, September.
Right.
Yeah.
September.
Awesome.
Ready? You
Well,
trust me. You will thank yourself.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't do it without coaches. I definitely think having them is ideal.
Great. Well, thank you very, very much for coming on, Andrea. Like, this was amazing and a total honor. And I don't feel worthy, but I do feel blessed that you've come on. So thank you.
Certainly, friend.
Yeah.
It was
Anytime,
great.
I'd
So
be
much
honored to
information.
come back.
Oh, for sure.
Yes,
Well,
please.
yeah, appreciate it.
We'll be keeping
Awesome.
your eye out for your show.
Yeah, have a
I can't
great
wait to hear
night.
all about
And
it in person.
Guys, something after the Rising Phoenix, I think that's great.
yeah, we can do
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah,
If
that'd be
you're
great.
if you have the energy and you're totally up for it, let's do it.